Hey guys, Dylan here, head coach from the Evolve Personal Training, and today I want to talk about the reason why most people fail with making changes to their habits and how you can actually go about making changes so that you can improve your health and lifestyle choices and basically achieve any goal you want to achieve. So what we're going to talk about today is to make change to yourself or to make change to your habits. A good way to go about it is be the identity of the person you want to be. Okay, so there's three parts to changing a habit or making a change to your daily routines. The first part, and the part that people always concentrate on first, is the outcome. So the outcome is obviously if we do this, then we'll get this outcome, this result. And for an example with health, it could be like, I want to lose 10 kilos of weight. So that's my outcome goal, and that's my outcome process. And then the second part of that is the process. This is often the part that a lot of people really start to focus on, and they realize when they got good coaches or they got someone there to help them out, that once they find a few processes, they get a little bit of momentum. And the third and final part, which is the most important part, is the identity. So what happens if you've got your outcomes, so you've got your goals, you know exactly where you want to go, and you've got extreme clarity around that. You've got some good processes in place, but your identity doesn't match up with your outcomes. What happens then is that you're going to have a conflict of who you are as a person, and this outcome is going to not happen because you're constantly at a battle with yourself, and you constantly got this conflict of who you are and who you're trying to be, and are two different people. So where we have to change that is we have to be the identity of the person we want to be. So what we've got to do is focus on the identity. So there's two ways to focus this, and there's the outcome focus, where you're focusing from the outside in, or there's the identity focus, and that's focusing from the inside out. And the identity focus is a lot more successful, and it's going to give you a lot better chance of succeeding in your changing of your habits or your routines, purely because you're telling yourself that you are this person. I am the person that's healthy. Instead of being like, I need to lose weight, I'm focusing on my outcome. You just basically change your thought pattern and your mindset to saying, no, I am the person who has lost this weight. I am the person who is going to basically make these massive changes to my life. And I am the person who makes healthy choices and healthy processes so that the outcome is just a formality. So what we got to focus on is deciding the identity that you want to acquire. So one good way to do this is you can look at people around you or people you know, or you can get some help with a coach and start to figure out exactly the identity of the person that you want to be. So for example, just an example of this in real life. So say your goal, your outcome goal is to lose weight, and you know the process of that is probably making better choices with your food. So if you make better choices with your food and you start to get some consistency and with your process, over time that outcome is going to come about. But we have an identity crisis, okay? So you've gone out for a work lunch and your work colleagues are like, okay, every Friday afternoon we go to this restaurant or this bar and we have this sort of a meal. So you are part of that crew and you're part of that is part of your identity. And what you've got to ask yourself now, does that identity, the identity that I already have about myself, basically serve me to get to my outcome? And one question you want to ask yourself there is, okay, what would the person who has this outcome do in this situation? So for example, if your outcome is to be healthy or lose weight, what would the person who has already lost the weight and already is healthy do in this situation? And if you can answer that question for yourself honestly and say, okay, the person in this situation, they're more likely to take this option on the menu than this option on the menu, and then just go with that. Go and stick to that and start to make that identity a part of who you are, because once you really start to tap into this and change the identity and your internal dialogue about who you believe you are, then the outcome just becomes a formality, because the identity starts to work on the process, and the processes start to affect the outcome. So the cool thing about habits is once you start to build them into place, they'll actually give you a backup, and I guess basically it will reaffirm that, you know, you are this person. Cool. So every time you make that small change to your processes and to your habits, that actually backs up the belief in yourself that you are actually that person who is making these changes. So starting with the identity, that will help you build the habits, and then the habits are going to reaffirm it. And it's a pretty cool process because they basically back each other up. You start to work on the process, because the identity, you start to choose processes of the person who already has that outcome. And then when you start to do the processes, that backs up your identity and your belief in yourself that you are becoming this person, and you are actually the person who is that, holds that identity, and you start to be the identity of the person you want to be. And this might all seem pretty complex, but if you take a little bit of time, it's really, really simple. So if you look at around anyone who has the outcome you want, okay, so they're healthy, they're fit, they're strong, it could be, in the professional life, they could be, successful in any area of your life. What is the identity of that person? Okay, so just ask yourself those questions. Sit down and take some time and think about, what does this person identify? Are they a healthy person? And what are the processes that these people who identify as being that person with that outcome, what are the processes they do? So this is a great thing that we like to teach down here at the Evolved, and we like to work on our members so that they can get these great outcomes, because we know that this is the most important stuff. We've all got outcome goals here. We all know the processes, to be healthy. All you got to do is exercise and eat better. Why doesn't it happen? Because people haven't figured out the identity that they need to be, okay? So that's something that we like to work on. And I hope this helps our current members. This is a great way to think about it if you are stuck. Basically sit down with yourself for 5 to 10 minutes. We'll go over this during our 12-week challenge and with our members. So we've got a full worksheet on this, and how we can figure out the identity of who you want to be, and how you can be the identity of the person you want to be, so that you can get your outcome. Cool, so I hope that helps. Habits are super important because habits build routine and consistency into your life. Once you've got consistency, consistent actions will give you a consistent result. Awesome, so I hope that helps. If this helps you, or you think it can help someone else, feel free to share it, or feel free to reach out to us.